You. Right, filming now. There he is. How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, we started.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay,
This is it. It's very relaxed sort of thing.
Yeah, very relaxed.
First off, are you okay to be used on YouTube and on documentary?
Yes,
All right.
I'm fine with that.
Just
I,
leave it.
Mark Smith, say it's fine to be used on Rich Hanrahan's YouTube documentary thing.
Thank you very much. Now, so what do you want to know?
I thought it's not the right way around. I thought you were asking me.
Yes.
What do I want to know?
Yes, please.
I want to know why you're sweating on my sofa.
I'm sweating. I don't know why I'm sweating on his over so
You're
much.
really sweaty today, aren't you?
Really sweaty. It's like humid or something. It's also it's quite a thick sofa. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah. Well clothed.
Well cloth.
Yeah. I should point out, you know this, but so we're right at the end of the Edinburgh Festival now. We're on, what are we? The 24th. We've got 2 shows left, and my body has basically started shutting down over the last 5 days, and now I'm totally deaf in this ear. So,
I mean,
don't.
doesn't really affect them, does it?
Doesn't affect them, but it's just an interesting thing, isn't it? Body shuts down.
The ear goes first. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, ears goes. But you made me worried now because you made me think it's an infection. I thought it was blocked up, full of like wax and whatnot.
All it means is you shouldn't put that stuff in your ear. It's not.
What, knives?
Yeah.
Idiot. Well, like, what am I here? Pop a knife in, that's what I was told.
They always worry about earbuds, but it's fucking knives you should be worried about.
What I don't get, right, is I've had a blocked ear before, and I've been to see the doctor, and they always say, well, don't use earbuds, don't use earbuds.
What are they supposed to be for?
I don't know, but then they say because your ears naturally clean themselves. Well, they obviously fucking don't, do they? Because that's why I need earbuds.
Yeah. What is it? Otex? You know, what do they do?
Yeah, Otex is what I've got. Could I do that?
Yeah, I mean,
Otex.
it's not the BBC. You'll have to say things.
But to be fair, it's not worked.
No.
Doesn't work.
But it's not necessarily their fault.
No, it does work though. Well, that works.
Bonjello.
It's been a stressful month. As I say. What else have we got over here? All sorts of bits and bobs. Yeah, so that's what my day's been like, and it's sort of deserved though, isn't it? You deserve to be ill in Edinburgh, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon so. What are your thoughts?
It's an odd place. For me, because personally, what I'm doing, it's all about. I'm seeing it from a different angle. I've not never read the reviews because I've got nothing to gain from that, which is really quite interesting in itself.
I don't do that either.
That's good. I think a lot of performers get to that stage. Like for the first few years, it's like desperate to see any sort of feedback.
Yeah, and it's also you want to see your name in print, don't you? At first.
Yeah. But
Exciting.
then once you reach a certain level, I don't think I'm at that level yet. I'm still quite excited to see myself
Right.
get reviewed, but
I don't see there being any positives to take from the reviews.
and I say good reviews.
No, I don't. I don't even think that then. I think I had a really nice piece written about me in a broadsheet last week. Really, really lovely. But that doesn't mean that I therefore think that person is a trustworthy, good reviewer or journalist. Just because they're good and positive about you doesn't make... So you know what this is like. When someone has a review, if it's a good review, they say, that journalist is good, they know what they're talking about. But if that journalist says something negative, they'll be like, they don't know what they're talking about. You can't just decide on that. I just assume none of them know what they're talking about, and then... So I don't listen to the good or the bad, it is what it is. I surround myself with people I trust, who would tell me if it was rubbish.
Yeah.
You know?
I've not seen it yet, so...
No. But generally speaking...
Yeah, but yeah, that is interesting. Like, I guess what it comes down to is just choosing critics that you actually trust in terms of what they're into and what.
There are some great critics out there. There's loads of great ones, but there's also, as we know over the years, a huge amount of publications that have no barriers to entry, I guess. So anyone could just review something, and now Edinburgh's diluted with 1,000 publications of blogs and just all these rubbish things. But the average person in the street doesn't know the difference between a 5-star from dogdickcomedy.com or The Guardian. You know, it's just 5 stars.
Trusted review.
But they don't realise that there is no barriers to entry to work at these magazines. You could be a 12-year-old girl who's never seen any comedy. You can still review it. People will still put the stars on the poster.
Do you not think that's kind of should be how it works, based on the fact that comedy is itself that sort of avenue?
Yes, but I also think that comedy, unlike something like music or films, everyone you ever talk to will always say, if they listed off what they're about, they'll always say, yeah, I've got a good sense of humour. Everyone thinks they've got a good sense of humour, which makes everyone think they've got a licence to comment on comedy, which you wouldn't maybe have with music as much. Maybe you wouldn't write a review about music unless you knew more about it. And so I feel as though there's a lot of dangerously underqualified people reviewing it. In the same way there's lots of dangerously underqualified people doing comedy, I agree. But, you know, the print is so final, isn't it? It's there forever. And you can have a terrible review from someone that doesn't know what they're talking about, but you have that then forever, for the rest of time, that review exists. And I just think there's no point, like Woody Allen said, you don't believe when a journalist says that you're really good, because then you have to believe also when they say that you're really shit. I'm paraphrasing, but that's something like what he said. And I sort of agree with that, really. While it's important that reviewers are there and critics are there, I feel it takes a lot of stress out of my life, not worrying about it, not trying to think about it. But what do you think?
I'd still like a good review.
Yeah, of course. I'd much prefer everyone. I'd much prefer all my reviews to be great and positive. But that's really because I want everyone to like my show, whether they're a reviewer or not. I want to have nice gigs and have people there. Of course, I'd rather have 5 stars all over the place. But even if I did, I wouldn't necessarily think, oh right, so these are all correct reviews.
You just got to ask what the role of criticism is.
Yeah.
Because I suppose it's mostly about publicity nowadays. Anyway,
It seems like it. Yeah.
Like you're not being evaluated. I don't know. There's a weird sense of like it's a school report at the end of the year at Edinburgh, and you bring up what you've done, and all the teachers are like
bring your project up to the front of the class. Yeah. And you read it out in front of all your classmates.
Yeah. But just every day for a month.
Every day for a month. Yeah. And you're just presenting your project to everybody. And then
some of you get written up. I'll be like, Mark did well this year.
He must try harder.
Yeah.
A
lot of good stuff about buses, maybe. I don't know.
You hadn't seen my show before?
I've seen you do.
My bus stuff is killer. There is no bus stuff.
The thing is,
tonight, though, you're in tonight, aren't you?
Yeah. The thing about your bus stuff is, right?
Dot.
You wait for ages. Right, and then there's 2 bits at once.
Hey-oh.
But then it's late. Then it's late. It's late.
And it's big and red.
You've missed the bus and you haven't got enough change. You need the exact change on the bus these days. Terrible.
What's happening with the trams up here? Is that sorted yet?
Don't talk to me about the trams, mate.
Don't talk to me about the trams,
God,
son.
Don't talk to me about trams.
Well, they've been doing it for about 5 years, haven't they?
I used to have that joke about them doing it at our gag hole the first time.
Just explain what gag hole is. That sounds
gag
rude.
hole is a rude word.
Gag hole was a comedy night that I started in Leeds, and then we brought to the Fringe when we just really started doing comedy, haven't we? And we both did that every night.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Max Dickens.
He was only in the second year.
Was only in the second year.
It's
Tommy Holgate.
Tommy Holgate, and supposed to be Hugh as well. Hugh Bailey.
Hugh Bainham. Yeah.
That was fun, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really fun.
That was really good. I feel like I'm at the level you were then, I think. Just in terms of like being comfortable to just go on stage and say things.
Yeah, I feel as though now though, so I'm full time now. I've been for about 18 months, almost 2 years. But in a weird way, that was my most enjoyable time, those gag holes and those Edinburghs. I feel as though now I've been full time, it's suddenly become a job. And that sort of fancy-free, carefree attitude of just walking on stage, I've had a few pints, walk on stage, have a really lovely gig, doesn't really fly anymore. I get a lot more anxious now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel the pressure of it a lot more now. And whilst I'm on stage, it's all the same still. It's like I'm really comfortable, I like it on there, but it's the build-up to it.
Yeah.
It's everything up to probably just before going on, so the last minute when I'm backstage.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I'm really nervous, and then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really anxious. The first week of the festival, so I'm doing a solo show this year. The first one, and the first week of the first festival of doing a solo show is the most stressful thing I've ever encountered, and I think it's like childbirth, right? Because I think that it's so bad, it's such a horrible, psychologically awful thing, but no comics tell you how bad it is. Because if they told you, you would never do it. In the same way that childbirth, they don't tell each other because they'll never have any kids again. And it's just so it's like psychological warfare, and you've got a very clear choice in that first week, or I had certainly, and it was either I just go home and I quit, or I've got to become more bulletproof and just more psychologically strong for it.
Wow.
And it was basically a choice where the first week of this Edinburgh made me decide that I do, even though I am full time, I've realised that I do want to do this now for a while, for a long time.
What like I know I'm not trying to interview you because I don't want to lead the discussion to certain areas, even though I want you to talk about the sort of things.
Dr Pepper.
There we go.
It's delicious.
Not a real doctor.
Huh?
No, it's a can of juice, as we say in Scotland. But like, have I told you what the documentary is about or not? That?
Yeah.
Do you vaguely know what it's about?
Yeah, vaguely.
Like, do
you see it for me?
Basically, I'm exploring where art and politics can meet and how comedy can work in that sort of. I'm trying to change the world essentially.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it through stand-up comedy because that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Like, where do you want comedy to go? What for you is it about?
For me personally, where do I want to do with it, or where do I think comedy as a concept should be going?
Both. Whichever, But I mean, discuss with me, question me about what you want to in that sort of vague area. Oh, we can talk about anything else at all.
Well, I think what I want to do I'll start with that. What I want to do with comedy is, it's such a difficult question, because I basically want to have a career in something I love doing. I want to start doing more stuff which isn't just stand-up. I'd like to do more narrative, studio or on-set sort of narrative stuff, sitcoms and short films and whatnot. I think at the minute there's a big shift at the moment. I think it's probably to do with money, of studio sitcoms coming back in. There's been quite a few examples of it, and people seem to like it, but it feels like we've gone back to, I suppose, not the bad old days, but when you see a studio sitcom now, it just really doesn't feel right to me. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I feel like it seems dated straight away. I'm not going to name names because some of them are great, and some of them are really popular, and there's obviously a huge market for it still. But I feel as though comedy's sort of
done that.
If it's not, and if comedy isn't pushing what's next and pushing the boundaries, then what's going to do that instead? Music to a certain extent can, and film can, but comedy, because you've got that instant connection with the performer or the characters or whatever. I feel as though if this isn't pushing boundaries, then that's sort of a problem.
I feel like comedy. Right now, there's a lot. Media in general and the arts, entertainment are all sort of being transformed at the moment. They're being forced to do that by economic pressures, by whatever pressures you get.
Yeah.
But most importantly, for me, information technologies is changing the way we access all sorts of things. So Spotify is changing the way we think about music.
Yeah.
And in terms of even just the consumption of albums has completely changed now.
Albums has totally changed.
They're dead. They're completely dead. The B-side's dead to a certain extent, but it means you can experiment.
Yeah.
But there's an equality of what you can do with music and with film and Netflix and TV. People don't go to the cinema so much. They're not really.
Do you feel as though things are getting more disposable?
Kind of, but in the same. But at the other end of things, films are a lot better now because of it. If you look at the Oscar list for the last 10 years against the ones just from the 90s was full of so much shit.
Yeah.
So much shit. And now you're getting really genuinely interesting films about interesting things. But they're always the smaller budget things that are sort of supposedly more niche. But like, fuck, I'm just looking at your
but even then, you say the smaller budget stuff, but something like Inception, now, whatever you think of Inception, I love Inception, I think it's great. But that has now given license to so many films which should be small conceptual movies, given them huge budgets, and it's like you wouldn't. So that was a big groundbreaking thing that happened, and it's allowed concept movies to become big again, and that's really exciting.
It's exciting, but also I think it can be quite negative. Like you get a lot of things chasing that money, chasing that thing, but actually what makes those films great is the restrictions on the budgets. It's like Moon. Moon was made for £1 million.
That's mad, isn't it?
But the point is that they're not making for the same amount of money that they spent on, say, What was that Johnny Depp film, the Lone Ranger? Let's say the budget was 300 million.
Yeah.
You can make 300 moons. But the point is, they don't want to.
Yeah.
They want to put more money into something big that they can guarantee success.
Yeah.
But they're falling apart.
But it's also like if you have a smaller budget, you have to come up with more creative ways to make a good film. Like Alien.
Yeah.
Like they had a tiny budget, so that became all claustrophobic and it was all shot indoors.
But everything that's good like that seems to come from that sort of
Yeah,
sense of
absolutely.
how it has to breed in a sort of like a dark, damp place.
So in that case, in the same vein, do you think that something like the Free Fringe and things like that?
Well, that is quite an interesting thing in one sense. Like, yeah, I mean, John Kearns won today.
Congratulations, John Kearns. He's absolutely brilliant.
So really good.
Really happy for him. And lovely speech as well. It was a really lovely
I didn't
speech.
hear
Yeah. Yeah, really nice. Google it later.
What did he talk about?
So he's not signed currently.
Yeah.
And 6 months ago, he had meetings with people, and no one was interested in signing him.
Really?
And today he went up and said, like, well, you know, like all these agents now are sniffing around, but fuck them, fuck them. I don't.
Yeah.
He didn't want me 6 months ago. The act's not changed. Yeah, it was good. He's just great. But so you were saying, sorry.
Well, for me, comedy's changed in that anyone can do it. There's an accessibility to it. There's actually filmmaking requires a lot of requisite skill.
Yeah.
Music, there has to be some sort of control and sort of, you do need to be trained. Comedy, although there is certainly a lot to learn in comedy, that it seems accessible because the art form is simply, it doesn't even have to be a microphone. It has to be you louder than the rest of a room.
Yep.
You given the priority
Yeah.
in a space. And I mean, obviously, you can do theatrical things. I've talked about this elsewhere in other interviews. You can have slideshows. You can have theatrical effect. I dress up like a clown sometimes.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's you saying things.
It's a lot less of an exact science as well. I think with music, if you can play the correct notes or chords,
You know,
or
it'll sound
whatever,
good.
then you know that is correctly played. It might lack soul or whatever, but with comedy, you can say words in an order. It doesn't necessarily you're telling a joke well, doing the joke well. But I think to go back to that thing about smaller budget making you more creative, or maybe that's not the right way of putting it. Having a smaller budget, you're looking for new avenues to create to make a bigger show out of what you have. I think the Free Fringe is sort of the way forward for, I think, the festival in general as well. I like the whole sort of DIY comedy aspect of it. It feels a lot more, because it's mainly self-produced for people. It feels like, well, I've got this room, I'm going to do everything, my flyers, my marketing myself, and I love that DIY feel. It's like, it feels really like a new movement, in a way. I think you get a little bit sterilised doing stuff at the big venues. I've been at the Pleasance Courtyard this year, and it's been brilliant, and it's always a dream to do the Courtyard, and I'd love to do it again. But I think if it doesn't work out, then something like the Free Fringe could well be a way forward. And people might moan about the Free Fringe and say, or the Free Festival, whichever one. They might moan and say, yeah, but there's, like they're saying, there's no barriers to entry, and so you will get a lot of shit there. But that's fine, isn't it? It's because you're going to get a lot of good stuff there, and it gives everyone an opportunity. I mean, who's anyone to say no? You absolutely can't come and do a show that you've worked on for a year just because you can't afford it. We don't want it to be a total pay-as-you-play, pay-to-play system, right? But I don't know. I mean, no one knows anything. As I said about reviewers, no one knows anything. I don't know anything.
That's the thing, isn't it?
No one knows anything about anything.
This is why
trust anyone's opinion, really.
And this is why I'm interviewing people that I know, because at least they'll know me, or at least they'll be comfortable knowing that whatever I do with this footage will be safe and be. I'm not going to abuse.
You're not going to get
my
me into
power.
trouble. Yeah.
I did an interview with Ben Target.
Yeah.
About his crowd surfing stuff.
Yeah.
I talked with Turpin about this. Terps.
Yeah.
I felt really bad about the interview because it was like it was ages ago, about a year and a half ago, and it was before we did his show. I just went down to his house with a camera. It was a different camera, and it was just film. I pointed at him, and I was me pointing at him, talking to him, and I felt a horrible sense of violence. I became slightly perverse, and I really felt really bad about it. It was really weird, which is why I want to do these interviews like this with people I know that trust me. I know.
When you're just out of shot, those sort of interviews.
Yeah, when I'm just there, because it's all about. This documentary is about looking at the boundaries and barriers of what a documentary is and what is truth. So instead of saying Mark Smith here, it will say sort of friend of me I did a show with a few years ago, Mark Smith. You know, so instead of saying Mark Smith comedian,
Cutting out all the glitz and glamour.
yeah,
and
just,
making it
just say
actually
who
real.
you are.
Yeah, yeah.
The man I've known for 6
Yeah.
years, who I didn't realise had a fucking ear piercing.
Yeah, I've had that for 6 years. He's never noticed it.
It's just mad.
It was silver, to be fair. But then, you're right. Like documentaries, what I hate about lots of documentaries is that fucking shot they have, where it happens all the time. Even the documentary makers that I love do this. They'll have a shot and it'll be set up, and it'll be the person, the protagonist of the whole thing, getting out of bed. And we're supposed to believe that the camera crew has been in there all day and all night waiting for him to wake up. It's like so much of it isn't true and honest. I think there's so much editing goes on in everything that we do now. Like documentaries aren't really documentaries. Stuff like Facebook as well. Everything's edited to the point of none of it's real, is it? It's all just a projection of what you'd like to be. Because people don't put pictures of them when they're like looking rough and whatnot, or they de-tag it or whatever.
I love doing that.
Oh, so do I. No, again,
It's so funny.
I say, I mean, this is myself included. I've not got a clue about anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, the documentary thing. Yeah, there should be a raw, uncut, coming at your screens,
Yeah.
Hitch and Smudge.
Why do you call you Smudge? I've missed this.
So Smudge apparently is a military nickname for Smith. Smudge. And last year, Neil Dagley, Flange Crammer,
Yeah.
brilliant comic, Flange Crammer. He started using it, and then it just sort of caught on. I quite like it.
I like it.
Smudge.
I just didn't like, yeah. People quite call me Smudge. I was like, oh, I'm not part of that circle.
Oh, you can get involved, mate.
Can I?
Yeah.
Right,
Do you
Smudge.
want to try it now?
I'm just going to hang on. Just going to turn it off and on. Just because it sometimes just... Back.
Back. Is that it?
That was it. It was just, these are amazing, man. You need to go on.
How much is it?
It was about 500 quid.
I would like a decent camera.
1080p. With a lens. I got some Asda.
Did they film Avengers Assemble on 5D?
Probably, yeah.
Mad.
It is mad. That's only $1.5 grand or something.
That's commercially viable, isn't it? Though, £1.5 grand.
I mean, they did do more than that.
Of course. But it's mad that they used it at all for a film that looks like that.
Well, imagine this industry in 10 years.
No. Refuse.
Refused to. So right, so that shot. Sorry, Smash. What did it there naturally? Just threw it in. That shot. To describe a shot, I'm going to do that shot of this documentary right now, and you're going to describe it.
What shot?
The shot that's always in documentaries that annoys you.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
Can we do it now? Can you film me now? Can I
Do it in the bedroom? Yeah.
Can you film me? That would be really fun.
So you have my alarm go off as well on my phone.
Oh yeah. All right, so, cool. So I do it dressed as a clown or not?
No, am I filming you getting out?
Yeah, I think so. Because I'm not entirely sure. I think I know roughly the shot.
It's the shot where it's just like it's there and like the lights are off and gets that alarm. You get up.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Right.
I'll set the alarm up.
I don't know whether or not to do something funny when I'm doing this.
I think it's as funny. I think it's as funny as it is.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Just setting the old alarm there.
Okay, so it's set for like a minute and a half.
Right.
So we get in.
Yeah.
Is it rolling now?
It's rolling now, yeah.
It's not going to do anything to point, yeah?
I think so.
That thing's flashing. So got flashing?
Yeah, that's the SD card. So the. Oh, you need the light on, I think.
Well, that's okay.
Is it still not too dark?
It looks fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think I might just have the light on. Or at least open the curtains maybe.
Yeah, the lights.
Yeah, so the end of the thing. This is going to go off so there's like a zoom. There's also like that one for focus right at the end, the lens bit.
Yeah.
So you need to get that in focus. So it's sort of right. Oh, Trumpies! Oh God, I've messed up again. Right. Is it filming?
Yeah. Let's hold it here then, yeah?
Yeah. Is the alarm definitely on?
Yeah.
Yeah, flushing the toilet.
Shut up, go to sleep.
Is that good?
Yeah, ideal.
Good.
Yeah, that's funny. It's a little cutaway in it.
Yeah.
Perfect little cutaway.
Well, what I'll do is I probably won't cut away. I'll have all that set up as well.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, this will still be in. This will be in the documentary. This is like
This whole thing.
this
yeah.
bit because it's going to be that awkward setup.
You doing? You good?
Yeah, I better get off.
Oh. Absolutely cracking.
And my Liverpool match. Kick off in 5 minutes. I'll keep it on mute, don't worry.
Cool. Less sweaty now as well. Oh, sorry, I made your bed probably a little bit sweaty as well.
Oh God.
You lucky thing.
I've burned those sheets.
It's in the festival anyway. You should. It's about
Yeah,
time
I'll
to
step up in the
something.
flat anyway before I leave.
That's it.
It's clear. It's the best cleanser of things, isn't it?
It is fire.
I saw Only God Forgives the other day.
Only God forgives.
Yeah,
What's
it's the new
that?
Nicholas Winding Refn one. You know the guy who made Drive?
Oh right.
There's Gosling's in it as well.
Yeah, you're good.
I didn't like it at all.
Really.
I really like Drive. I hated Drive first time I saw it, to be fair.
Really.
Yeah. Then it's grown on me quite a lot, and then I saw this, and it seems to be really sort of trying quite hard, very pretentious, long, lingering shots of not a great deal.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It's only a short film.
Well, it sounds like another example of a director being given more room and sort of
Yeah,
indulged too much indulgence.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That's what. That's
I'd
another
definitely
thing
watch his next film. I was interested enough by it to watch it, what else he's got,
Yeah.
because I hope it's not a flash in the pan. That I think it's more likely that Only God Forgives was, to me, a dud more than Drive was lucky.
Mm.
I think.
That's the thing with comedy is because you are there and there's that sense of like genuine danger that you can't be self-indulgent. You still have to be funny. The art form requires a critical feedback, you know. An artist can do whatever he wants. He can, you know, like an installation artist can turn any space into anything he wants. But a comic still has to be funny. An artist doesn't have to be beautiful, but a comic has to be funny.
Yeah.
So when I'm going on stage and trying to tell people whatever it is I'm trying to say, I don't really know what it is yet.
Yeah.
At least they've still got to be laughing at me. otherwise
Your
it's not
remit, your
comedy.
remit is to have it be laughed at.
Yeah.
But then, is that the case?
Well, I mean, I get laughs some of the time.
But if you have, do you have one show, and this is what happens in Edinburgh, isn't it? You have your show, and some nights you'll have an audience that love it all.
Hmm.
But that same show in front of a crowd that hates it isn't a worse show, isn't a worse comedy show.
No, but I mean, I suppose it comes down to intentional. I mean, I don't know what makes comedy as opposed to just performance.
Well, I don't know, because I suppose at the same time something like Jam, the TV show, or the radio show, the Chris Morris.
Yeah.
People watch that and it's a comedy. It's a very dark comedy, but it's a comedy. But it doesn't always get people belly laughing or laughing out loud.
No.
But you'd still classify that as comedy, right?
Yeah. But even then, that you could say that as film anyway. You know.
Yeah, or even horror.
The live. Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. Right. The live
thing. But yeah. So I guess the remit is to make people laugh. That's the first job. Or is that the first job?
What's a documentary's remit, in that sense?
To document real events. Whether that, because a documentary should be something that in 1,000 years' time you could look at and trust as an honest portrayal of something, a documentation of something that was happening at the time. Otherwise, what is it? It's just a narrative film, isn't it? And that's not what life is.
What's this I'm filming now?
So, well, I don't know. I've not seen the edit.
That's a good point.
I've got no idea. At the minute, this could be a porn film.
It's a really
It's carefully spliced together.
Really
You've already been in
slow
my bed. Got to rule it out. But I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'll have to when it's done.
because the thing is, well, like I'm performing on stage. I've written everything that I'm doing in a way, but I'm not. But this is still real, right?
Yeah.
You're here with. This isn't planned. This is just a real thing, isn't it? So in a way, we're documenting this. But I mean, that sequence we just filmed just then. You said yourself. That's what every documentary has. This sort of shot of someone getting out of bed.
Yeah, I
But-
don't believe this bit.
Yeah, but like, what about everything else? What about almost like Michael Moore bit with at the end of when he's talking to Charlton Heston?
Yeah.
I mean, no,
Stupid white people, is it? What's that?
no, the Bowling for Columbine.
Sorry, one for Columbine. Yeah, of course.
It's like a big moment, but like you forget, even though he walked out of the house or whatever.
Yeah.
There would have been an hour or so before when Michael Moore turns up. He
Yeah.
eats a croissant, maybe.
Yeah.
a
But then,
damn
of course, I understand. But this is a 2-hour film. You can't have everything in there. Something like Catfish is something that annoys me a lot. The documentary, not the
drink. Yeah.
fish. The fish is fine. Fish is fine. Because it all seemed too perfect. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an really interesting concept. I enjoyed the film a lot,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's a documentary.
What I mean, but what? I think it's a misleading documentary. I genuinely believe it's real.
I think they knew too early on.
There is that sense of that. I mean, there's part of it is explained in the filming style because they're from the New York Film School, which apparently they say document everything as if it's a documentary. So that if something does happen, you've got stuff to pick up a narrative from before,
But they knew too early on, and I think I mean, there's that shot in that film which is straight out the Blair Witch Project, or any horror film from the last 10 years or last 30 years, when they're going down that sort of terrifying. They're in the car and they're driving down the sort of farm sort of tracks up to the house, and everything's lit perfectly, and it just doesn't. I just don't buy it. I don't buy that. And from about 10 minutes before that point, I switched off it being a documentary. I knew it wasn't a documentary, and now I was watching it as just a piece of
Fiction, a sort of a
yeah. And I still enjoyed it.
Clever genre piece.
But you shouldn't. The point of the documentary, I think, is with any other narrative, or any other film, to a certain extent, you normally have to suspend your disbelief. With a documentary, you shouldn't have to do that, and that's the point of it. Is that it is supposed to be factual, and this is what is happening. Does that make sense? Like I watched Avengers Assemble, and I have no issue with it. Oh, that's fake. He's not really flying, because I'm aware of this. But with the documentary, I think you should have. I think you're morally supposed to make it
Accurate.
Yeah. Otherwise, what is it? In 1,000 years' time, someone comes across a Louis Theroux or Nick Broomfield documentary or whatever. It should be that they can look at that in the same way that you should, in theory, be able to look at a newspaper for events and say, oh, these are the things that really happen and this is how they happen. Obviously, this all gets twisted, and newspapers have a bias or a different agenda, and a documentary shouldn't, but it always will do, because you need to. Because at the end of it, a documentary is still essentially entertainment, and it is filling in an hour on the telly or an hour and a half film or whatever. And so they do have to cut out boring bits, I get that, but they shouldn't mislead the viewer, I don't think. But how long is this documentary going to be?
Well, I mean, this is another thing. Most documentaries sort of fit in the TV schedule.
Yeah.
Mine is simply like for a marked criteria. It has to be 20 minutes, 40 minutes, or 60 minutes, depending on how much I write.
Right.
So I'm aiming to get 20 minutes out of this,
Yeah.
which I can easily get. I can fill it up, 15 times over now in terms of the amount of footage I've got.
Yeah.
But it's about cutting it down and editing it but it's about getting a rhythm within the film to make it feel watchable and stuff,
Of course, yeah. It's got
But the point is, like, isn't reality itself subjective anyway? Why do we kind of try and pretend that there is a reality to be captured that is authentic and real? Why don't we try and,
Well, that's a pretty deep question. I probably don't have any answers for, or
Well, I mean,
be able to talk about.
you've said
with
it all
any
along.
intelligence.
You know nothing,
I've got no idea about anything.
and yet we've had a very, very because no one does.
Yeah, but no one does. This is it.
David Cameron isn't Prime Minister of the country. He's not born. I mean, there's a sense in which he's born to be a Prime Minister in the.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah.
But like anyone, they send out being in these roles. There isn't. You're just a child that grows up into this big body, and you have to learn what to do as you're doing it. You know, and
Instinct. Everyone's acting on instinct. No one's got a clue what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it's.
that's how the world's run.
Oh, I know. I mean, what I always find amazing is the stock market, for example. Now, no one's got a clue what's happening. But if everyone knew that, people go mad. They'd be like, how can you be dealing with billions, trillions of pounds if you don't know what's going on? But I think the simple truth of it is that with it being a sum-loss market, it's like, let's say there's 1,000 people, and every year half of them make money and half of them lose money. And after a few years, there's only a few people left who are still making money. Because it's some loss, those guys who are a few left are making loads of money. So everyone thinks, oh, he's a genius. He knows exactly what's going on. He doesn't. It's just simple sort of maths, really. It's some will lose, some will win. Over time, those ones that win will become less and less and less. But because of the money's there, they'll get loads. So someone like George Soros, who's a huge financier, stock market player, worth billions, but he doesn't really know what's going on. But the perception obviously must be that he knows what he's doing. No one really knows, man. No one knows. I mean, obviously people have very specific degrees and specific careers. So surgeons and doctors and scientists, they know what's going on in their job. But I don't think anyone has an idea about anything really.
Do you think comedy gives you any sort of privileged access to the world?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's. How do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, well, again, it's quite a leading thing to say. But in terms, I mean, in one sense, the skill set. You know, you learn to read people, you learn to read rooms, you learn to access. You can be charming more. You can manipulate people to a certain extent. And
You probably can. Yeah.
You have an oratory skill, but also you learn a sense of criticism. You become more aware of everything that's going on. You go, oh, that'll make a joke later. Or you're sat at the bus and you go, I observed more of a man.
Yeah, maybe, but I think most people do that anyway. I think, I think most people, like, 'cause a lot of the time you get the question, how do you come up with your material? And normally, I think the way I answer it normally is that I think most people have those same thoughts and same ideas and think of jokes and stupid bits and bobs, but they just don't. They haven't really ever before wanted to or needed to write it down and develop it. That's all it is. Most people could. You speak to any guy on the street will have, not off the top of his head, but will have had 5, 10, 20 really funny ideas that he's had, you know, but it just has never had the reason to write it down and think about it anymore. So no, I don't. I think probably I'm probably more alert to stuff. Like, I think any comic is always looking out for stuff because generally people, that's all we really think about. But I don't think it's. What was the question at the start?
Does comedy give you a privileged access to the
Yeah,
world?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. But having said that, I think you probably are right with. They're good skills to have, but I don't think they really are that applicable to much else. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably wrong. Don't know anything.
No, yeah.
Don't know anything.
The man doesn't know anything. We've talked a lot.
Yeah. It's probably all bollocks. I don't even think you're recording.
I'm not. Yeah. Just made a cardboard.
Nice
My
camera.
cock's actually in there. You will start sucking. I'll ask you to suck on the lens in a minute.
I'm not going to suck on the lens.
Not again.
No.
I cut that bit out. This is when I cut to a shot of you, sort of just your tongue. I don't know how you did that. But yeah, no, that was very good. Thanks very much.
Thanks, man.
Did you?
Cheers,
Is there
guys.
anything else you want to ask me or talk about? Oh, yeah, I've got plenty of time. I can do whatever, you know, time wise.
Well, keep time, yeah. I've got to go to see Sterling's show. Not for a little while though. Yeah, so your gig's up here. How many have you done?
It's about 25, 30.
Have you?
Yeah.
All as the clown?
Well, I dress up as a clown on stage as part of the set.
Okay.
I filmed every single one. They're all on YouTube.
And what's the correlation between you doing that and this documentary? So you want to change the world through stand-up, but
Yeah.
how... Do you not think that's... A lot of people think they're doing that?
Yeah, but I don't think they say it. I think they
You're quite explicit about it.
yeah, I say on stage I'm trying to change the world. Like the whole thing is technically I'm performing this documentary.
Right.
The documentary is an attempt to change the world
Yeah.
and look at what documentary is and how it sort of accesses the world and what other documentaries are doing and how they're sort of constructed and blah blah blah.
Okay.
And it looks at media manipulation in general, but like I'm doing like not like a fake because it's all real. It's still real what I'm doing. I'm still doing a thing like a Supersize Me.
Yeah.
My thing is using performance art or comedy specifically as a means of trying to change the world, trying to get into people to share ideas and get into people's heads and say something to them rather than, I don't know, lose weight or save dolphins or something. But my thing is like a parody of every other documentary that exists already, to try and do something to say, well, you know. But on the other end of the thing, it's an absurd documentary.
Yeah.
My setup is, I'm going to try to change the world. How am I going to do it? I'm going to stand on stage, dress up as a clown.
In front of
And I
varying numbers of audience members.
Sometimes, I think
3 or 4.
Four.
Yeah. Well, it happens, doesn't it?
I did a cracking gig to 4. But I mean, because it gives you more chance to talk to people and explore things.
Yeah.
But and then I go on stage and I do some exercise to try and change myself.
Right.
Get them to heckle me, shout at me.
How long are the sets you doing?
Well, I started off by taking 5s, but I can't do anything shorter than 10 anymore. But I did it 40 minutes once. Just
Brilliant. That's
it's
great.
kind of
like this month.
Yeah, it was kind of just more just sort of comparing and talking to people.
Yeah, but still, that's still.
But like the thing is probably 15 minutes really.
Right.
But yeah, but
do you this whole absurd thing, trying to change the world through this whole thing? Having done it more now, do you and done the documentary more? Do you think that stand up in itself is an absurd thing to do for a job?
No, because I have a really skewed view of capitalism. Anyway, I think every single thing.
Of what, capitalism?
Yeah, every
Right.
single thing is basically a man bullshitting to get money off of you.
Yeah.
I feel if anything, actually, Stan's a lot more honest because he doesn't try to hide it behind anything.
Yeah,
He said, I'm
yeah.
going to stand on stage. I'm going to say things, and hopefully you'll laugh at
Be
them.
laughing, buy my stuff.
Yeah.
Buy my tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what That's why this thing is quite interesting because unlike, say, Supersize Me or something. Oh well, maybe I use that as an example, but like rather than
Spurlock.
yeah, Morgan Spurlock. But like, unlike other attempts to do stuff, more specifically art, where there's things that are really powerful, but sometimes like the big thing is like photojournalism. There's a picture of like that starving child with the vulture. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And that sort of thing is quite a powerful way of a potent message of like, look at what we're doing to the world.
Or the polar bear.
Yeah, exactly. But like sometimes to get to that point, what you do is quite cruel, and even capturing that image can be quite a violent
The ends
process.
justify the means, though.
Yeah, but for me, the means are justifiable in themselves,
And you want to
which is why comedy seems
capture
to be-
that whole journey to get that.
Yeah.
Get that final picture. You want to see the
Yeah.
kid being moved around and the vulture being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I don't know what my final picture is, and I don't even know what it is I'm trying to capture yet. I think
Is that exciting or is that nerve wracking?
it's really exciting because I'm quite comfortable with stand-up now. I like it, I enjoy it, and it's really it's my medium. Like obviously you can have it as well. I don't know like that.
Thanks, man.
But like it feels like it's what I can do.
Yeah. But all of this, I mean, I think sort of comedy is absurd because I think we can talk about it in lots of depth and we can talk about the philosophy of it and in terms of life and stuff like this. But really, you just go on stage and try and make people laugh. And I guess we can talk about it as much as we want and sort of make it sound really deep, which it can be. But this will always be funny. That'll always be funny.
Yeah.
And that's just a guy playing with his glasses. You've Been Framed will always get people watching it.
Yeah.
Because people falling over
Yeah.
is always going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
So there's just so many layers that you can look at it, but I think we probably just look at it too much. I think that's what creates the absurdity. It's not the person on stage doing it for money, which is absurd. I think it's how in your head you get about comedy. And when you're up at the Fringe, like it's a long festival, isn't it? It's 4 weeks, just under 4 weeks. Performing every day, 2-3 shows a day, 2-3 gigs a day. I think you just live in your own head for an entire month. It's so intense. It's so just egotistical. It's just all, you don't give a shit about anything. And I hate being that person for a month. That's why I really struggle at the festival. I like having a normal life really. And I happen to do the job. I don't like to be defined as a comedian. I'd rather just be, oh, that's a guy and he happens to do comedy.
Mm.
It is absurd. Up here is absurd. I don't find it so bad when I'm back down south or back in England.
That's the other thing about what I'm doing. So I'm trying to do it is like to try and sort of say comedy has, like other art forms, it seems accessible to everyone. Like my set that I've been doing at other people's gigs, and I've been doing it to like 12 o'clock to late night crowds.
Yeah.
And it means that I'm trying to do something that says something, but that can be read by anyone, you know.
Right.
That kind of access to it. But I'm doing it at the world's biggest arts festival, and it's Crazy Town. Yeah. Is what it is. I mean, that's a part of the absurdity, is trying to think I'm doing something meaningful, when it's just a man fucking about.
Drop in the ocean, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because you could be doing something really meaningful. There could be you, and there could be 3 other, 4 other, 100 other people who are doing really meaningful, really important stuff, but you never see it or hear about it because they might be playing to 2 people a night. I'm playing to 2 or 3 people a night.
I've been
something genuinely life-changing, or world-changing.
Yeah.
But it just gets so diluted up here, doesn't it?
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've not said this out loud yet. But to everyone, I want to say, you're not even the biggest show at your own venue.
Yeah.
And there's 400 venues plus.
Yeah.
No one is even as big. That's the thing. Sloss, let's say Sloss, he's in a big venue.
Yeah.
Like, or any of these big acts who are at one of those big things.
Yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 people, and it would be impossible to say that one's bigger necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, but like in every single situation, you could, to someone else, there's someone really important at your place. There's no hierarchy. There's no top of this pyramid to which to get to. Actually,
yeah.
There's like it's just
there's a separate plateau at the top, isn't there? But they're all just there. There's loads. I mean, yeah, that's quite interesting. So when do you know when to stop? What do you aim for, and when do you know that you've got it?
Well, why try and aim for something when you can enjoy it the whole time?
Because I think that's what we do, isn't it? That's what humans do.
Some people don't.
Really, I think I do, but I think I always fail to appreciate it once I'm at a certain point. Like 5 years ago, 5 years ago, we were doing Gag Hole. I mean, at the time, I'd have loved to have been, like, first of all, signed with Avalon. And I signed with them, and I thought, okay, what's next? Then I did Russell Howard's Good News and got on telly, and then had a nice set on there. Didn't enjoy any aspect of it leading up to it, just did it. Didn't give myself any time to enjoy it, and then I was like, okay, what's next? I think as humans, you just do that though. And then it's like, I'm doing Shown the Pleasance, something I'd have killed for. And it's like, okay, I'm doing it now, and then. But you just keep wanting to get the next bit, don't you? I don't think people will ever. Well, maybe it's not all people, but certainly I don't think I'll ever be. I could be like doing a stadium tour, 10 DVDs have come out, all top sellers, doing Hollywood films, and I still wouldn't maybe be happy. I think you'd still be like, okay, what's next then? Let's hope I never get to like Prime Minister or President, because I want to take over the other planets. And then what? And what then?
I like the idea of as well is there's always that juxtaposition between like the comedians. Like you just said, when will I be happy? And like your job is telling jokes.
Yeah, I'm quite happy really, but I'm happy. I'm quite a happy person generally, but like career-wise, I just think you're always going to want to. What personally, the next bit? What's next? And you're right. I'd rather be just someone who enjoyed the ride. I didn't worry where we were going with it. Just have fun on the journey. But
it does feel like a megabus, doesn't it?
It feels like a megabus and the toilet's blocked, and everyone's just gone mad. Like a 40-hour. No. What are you the other way around then? Do you just enjoy the journey and?
I do like the sense of like every single gig I try and it's always different and it's what I really enjoyed so far. I've been filming every single one.
Yeah.
So people are so precious about the material, and I've been like, no, just throw it all up on there.
Yeah.
And it's
plus it'll make you write new stuff.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. But like, Kern used a quote of Woody Allen on his show.
Yeah.
Saying about
80% personality, 20% material.
Or something like that. Yeah.
It's alright for Woody to say, the material.
Yeah, exactly. But like that sense of like, I do feel like I feel like I could entertain a room, you know, with a Swanee whistle. I feel like I'd have fun and people would have fun. And it's not necessarily about creating an anarchic atmosphere or something like that. It's just a case of trying to make every experience unique for each audience member, for them to always. But even if I can't be the best and the funniest, for them to walk out of the room and go, what the fuck was that guy dressed up as a clown for?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
So how much has your material changed day to day?
Well, this has been one of the things that I think I've documented real well, is that sense of progression of a joke.
Oh, okay.
You know, and also like,
origin to.
but also like, you know how you sometimes go, oh, I was in a gig the other day and this and that happened. I've got evidence of it, and I can cut back when I talk about it. I can cut back in the documentary and
Nice.
see this happened.
Is it all single cam?
Yeah, there's one or two gigs where I've done a couple of cameras,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I've had the audience, or I've also had the audience members being the directors as well. So
Oh, cool.
so I've
Okay.
been sort of like subjecting myself.
Actually, you're actually in there in the trenches.
Yeah,
That's good.
there's one gig the other day where you know when someone goes to the toilet, it was oh what should we do? What should we do?
Yeah.
I genuinely made the whole audience hide in the corridor.
Nice.
And we filmed that. There's a lovely little video of the guy who was filming me, sort of talking a little bit with people backstage in the little
Right.
thing. But the guy, we lost the guy. The guy didn't come back for ages, so we're just sort of waiting. But I've
Would
got
never
that
come
on
back.
film, which
Nice.
is really kind of cool.
That's a nice thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know what that means.
Don't matter. I'd like to see it though. Looking forward to it. You did 20 minutes or 60 minutes. You got up to 20, 40, 60,
Wait
right?
and see, won't we? I don't think I've got enough for a 60 minute. I've got enough.
Hours is a long time, isn't it? With no breaks.
I've not even thought about like this other thing. I'm talking to my other friend who's a genuine filmmaker, and I was like, kind of brushing books about narrative in documentary about
Yeah.
how to make it work, because there's footage and then there's a film. And
Yeah.
I'm a long way from the film right now.
And you got how many months?
Well, I've given myself a month to edit. This won't be enough. It sounds stupid. You go, I could do anything in a month. No, too much.
You can do a 2-month tour of London, would you?
No, Rome you could build that 31 times, or not, as the case may be.
I mean, famous with the phrase you can't do it in a day.
I think once you've done it a couple of times, by the end of the month you'd be quite good at it.
Yeah, like by the end of the month you're like knocking Rome down in.
Do that again. Do it two
Couple of hours,
two
yeah.
times a day. So it's like how your set gets quicker.
Yeah,
By the end of the festival, you're like, I'm doing 30 minutes now.
Yeah, but you lose a minute a week, I reckon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
How tightly scripted are you now?
Yeah,
Really tight.
yeah.
Have you got a script?
Yeah.
Or would you be able to print out a thing that says,
Maybe I've got. Actually, anyway, minutes. Yeah.
just change the battery there?
Yeah, it's tightly scripted, but I come off it as well if something happens in the room.
Yeah.
There's bits written into it where I will talk to the audience, but it's all part of it. Like at no point am I going off on a flight of fancy.
Yeah.
So we'll just.
Good start. Hello.
Yeah, so I mean, I got the show. It's somewhat iPad there, and it's all just, I mean, verbatim. It's exactly how it's all said. I mean, I've got about the first 40 minutes probably there. To do that again.
No. I mean, if you slow that down, we could probably read it all. Copyright and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want that again.
I'll blur it out for you.
But yeah, I've got it. It's all. I didn't used to be like that, did I? I used to have. In a 20, I'd probably have 5 little bits that I definitely do, but just fuck around a lot.
Mm.
And that's good. That's good for a point. And that was good when I started because it just gave me confidence on stage. But I think you get to a certain point where you think, well, what can I do with that?
Mm.
I didn't want to come up here and do just an hour with Mark Smith. I wanted to do a show. So the show it feels quite loose, but it's actually everything I do really is scripted. And you'll see it tonight. Hopefully it's alright tonight. It's the final Saturday of the Fringe, so we should be okay. But I can't hear anything, so I can't work out how loudly I'm talking
Yeah.
or anything. So I might get someone to sort of be on ear patrol during the gig. I'm talking too quietly, you know. It's a
Yeah.
proper fucking problem though.
No, it's quite funny in a way.
Well, I thought I had a terrible. I thought I was good last night, but I thought the crowd weren't that bothered.
Yeah.
And at the end, my technician was like, "That was great. They loved it." And I was like, "Well, did they? I can't hear anything. What's going on?" Because every night now, this side of the room, I think hates it. This side.
To do the whole
Generally
thing
do
from the
hate
corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. We'll see how we get on tonight. Hopefully it's okay.
Well,
Would it help? Would you want to do an interview in the dressing room or something afterwards? Would that help?
No.
No, not that sort of
You've got a
thing.
dressing room.
Yeah,
Which one are you in?
bunker.
Oh, right. I'm wondering what it would be quite funny because I also like is when you talk to people and you say something funny and then you say it later on stage. I like that rehearsedness. So I think you'll probably do that gag where you'll say, this other one can't hear me and this other one...
Yeah, I probably will do that now,
yeah.
Oh, maybe I will. We'll see.
I like when you definitely hear someone do something. Like sometimes I make that mistake and people think I'm doing the material. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's that good.
But then what happens is that because it's funny,
Yeah.
you know, well, I might just use it in the show then.
Yeah.
But it's not the other way around. It's not that it's already in the show and now
Yeah.
I'm doing bits of the show to you.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's
Do you find comedy makes you change you?
as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I think I was a lot funnier before I went full time with comedy. Like a lot funnier as a person off stage.
Mm.
Now I often can't be asked. That sounds awful, doesn't it? But
Yeah, but I
when
know
the
what you
job
mean.
is that
Why? Yeah.
to be on. Plus, like a lot of my mates now are comics, you know, because people tend to hang out with people they work with, right?
Yeah.
And my hours are so unsociable. Unsociable?
That's just weird.
Antisocial.
Either.
My hours are so antisocial that I don't see my non-comic friends, so they're all at work or I'm working at night. So it's a weird one. So all my friends are comics, so I get with them. I don't feel the pressure to be funny then because none of us do. Just hang out. Whereas I suppose when you first start and you're with your older mates, there's always that thing of, oh, this is Marky's the comedian. There's an instant pressure to be funny. And I just sort of sat that all of that off now, and I'm just sort of quite happier as a result. A lot happier as a result. So it probably has changed me as a person, but not in any significant way that anyone cares about.
It's funny that I think people would think, you go, oh yeah, no, I'm a lot funnier. I'm a lot slicker with my jokes. You'd think someone would say that, but no, it's the opposite. You go, I'm a lot less funny.
I'm slicker with my jokes. On stage, I'm a lot
Yeah.
different.
But as a person.
But as a person, I've not changed much. I just often can't be asked. I mean, that's just like a general note. I can't be asked a lot of the time.
So
I work hard. I work really hard, and therefore everything else. The other thing is, like, I have a girlfriend. I've been with her for a while, and I like to see her when I can. So the nights that I'm not gigging, I like to see her, which leaves very, very little time to see. It doesn't sound horrible, but real mates,
Yeah.
like as in mates that obviously the comics are real mates as well, but the mates that I had before any of this ridiculous thing started.
Yeah.
So it is very antisocial. It used to be really cool at the start when you started, and it was like, hey, do you want to come to a party? Oh, I can't, mate. Gigging.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, it's so cool. He's going off doing a gig, and I'm like, yeah, it's so cool this. But now it's like, I can't come to the christening because I am doing a weekend in Bournemouth. And all of a sudden, it's like it's great to get work, but it's like I can't miss I can't see or attend quite important things sometimes.
To go to Bournemouth as well sounds awful.
Yeah, that's just an example, but you imagine that, missing a christening. But there's no christenings happening, this isn't. That's not an actual event that happened, but.
Are you really getting a gig in Bournemouth?
Yeah, Bournemouth's right. Bournemouth's good.
Yeah.
But I guess, so as a person, probably not changed too much, but I guess that the other thing is it's difficult to know what's changed you. I'm 28 now, and when I started doing it, I was 22. And so I'd have changed as a person anyway. Early 20s to coming up to 30, you'd have changed anyway. And it's hard to put your finger on what is it in your life that has made you change. Is it relationships? Is it your job? Is it your parents? Is it just your friends that have done it? It's hard to say. So maybe that would have happened anyway. Maybe I was just keener to be funny around people when I was younger, with or without doing comedy as a job. Maybe it's that. So who knows? Do you think you've changed since doing it?
I think I've got fatter.
As a person, do you think you've...
Yeah, definitely. As a person, I got fatter as well. Yeah.
No, very fat personality now.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I think I did. Yeah. Because I tried to be funny when I was a lot younger. As one of why I got into comedy was because I wanted to be funny.
That guy.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily that guy, but one of those guys. I liked. I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. I wanted to be that kind of person who would make people laugh.
Sorry.
And then
I'm not nodding at you. I'm on Edinburgh.
Yawning at a city. Doesn't often happen. Does it?
Go on, what are you saying? So you love that? Sorry, I haven't.
But then, yeah, no, I think I did change a bit to try and become funny. I now can't. I find it very hard to turn off. But it's not like I'm being disingenuous when I'm with people. It's like that's just more who I am. I feel like I'm getting quite honest on stage. The distinction between me off and on stage is actually blurring more and more. I think.
Yeah, that's good.
In a positive way rather than me being a.
Yeah, I think unless you're a character actor, that's quite good to have a bit of truth and whatnot. I think it's good to not be too different on stage to off. I say that, but then as I've said, like, I'm not as funny off stage, so maybe that's a bad thing for me if I go on and be.
Turn up and go, don't want to do jokes today.
Yeah,
that's my job.
Moan about them
Christ.
for a bit. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you find watching other comics up here, other shows and other package shows, do you find that helps your comedy, or do you think it hinders it?
I've not seen
Or
that
just
much,
neutral?
but like, you both get jealous and get inspired.
Inspired.
So I saw Liam Williams the other day.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant.
Brilliant. But he's
But doesn't it make you feel a lot shitter about your stuff?
well, no, because he is really weird. We have quite similar, strangely, quite similar comedy tendencies. He's very silly, but also very serious.
Yeah.
At once, I have that tendency. But his style is very much more oppressive and depressing. Quite sad, you know.
Yeah.
And then John Kearns again. I've not very basically seen about 3 people.
I've seen very little this year.
Yeah.
For that reason
Yeah.
of feeling very precious about my show early on, and not wanting to see something that blew my mind and made me think the show was shit.
Yeah,
Because then I'd have a whole month doing a show that I then didn't really believe in.
yeah.
It's sort of pathetic,
But it's real, isn't it?
but that's just what it feels like.
Yeah.
I think when you do your first hour, it's like, is it any good?
Mm.
No idea. It seems to be going alright, but I've got no idea. Definitely a better comic
Mm.
as a result of it. But so why haven't you seen much stuff?
It's been busy.
Just too busy doing
poor
this.
as well.
It's
Yeah.
expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very expensive.
And that's for someone who lives here normally anyway.
Yeah.
Not even running a show.
Then the other thing is, if you can go see great shows, which obviously everyone should do,
Yeah.
but I haven't done much of. Or you do the other thing, go and see shit shows to make yourself feel better. But I don't want to do that either, because I don't want to be the
Yeah.
idiot that would do that. But some people do that, and I think it's a bit, it's a bit unfair, isn't it?
I think it's very mean sometimes when people do that.
Yeah,
I
do.
But no, I think it's good. I think the point of come up here is not to do stuff; it's to see everyone else, and you learn. You just sort of you soak it in and go, no, like that's a really good idea. I'll steal that bit, or you know,
I'll steal that routine.
that's that hour of comedy.
Yeah. John Cairns. My show next year called Sight Gags for Perverts. It's John Cairns' show.
Yeah. All right, we've got about 2-3 minutes left on this SD card, and that'll be it. Any final words, remarks, or things you want to talk about?
Any remarks? Not really, no.
Good.
No, I don't know. I think I've said everything
You've ever thought?
that I've ever thought. I can't really hear anything. I don't know if I'm talking very loudly. Talking normal?
It's talking fine, mate.
Okay, good. This fucking one's going now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is an infection then.
Think so?
Yeah. Good luck tonight.
Hmm?
Good luck tonight if they're both going. Yeah. Who is it? Steve Day?
Steve Day, yeah.
Yeah. You have to ask him how he does it.
Yeah. I'm in the hospital tomorrow. Only because there's no it's bank holiday, innit? No, nothing's open.
Oh shit. Yeah.
There's an A&E, wait there for 6 hours to get my ears sorted. Will they syringe it there and then? You don't need to know this.
Do you want me to film it?
No, absolutely not.
I'm going to turn this off. Thanks very much, man. That's really
No worries,
great.
man.